Hi everyone, Erin here. We have not done a garden stroll for a few weeks now, and we are at that point of winter where 20 degrees is relatively warm, and we are heading into a big deep freeze, like much of the country is gonna follow us into this. So I thought, let's walk around the garden. We can talk about a few things, take a look at a few things. I want to be outside while I can because the next few days is going to be intolerable. So let's go for a stroll. Darwin may or may not join us, but this is what he's looking like now. We have not weighed him lately, but he's 6.5 months and full velociraptor stage. I don't know what it's like for other breeds because I've only owned Newfoundlands, but other than one other dog when I was in high school. But for Newfs, I find the most challenging period is 6 to 9 months. We are in the throes, let me tell you. But today's been a good day so far with him. So let's stroll here. So the garden is looking very much like it probably did the last time. I will say that the Euphorbia Ascot Rainbow is looking just super crispy. They never got to this stage last year. It'll be very interesting to see if if they make it through the winter this year. We're coming up to temperatures of somewhere, well, I think the lows are going to be low negative teens. So that's, you know, the theoretical, not the theoretical, zone 5 hardiness is negative 20. So we're going to be below zone 6. Technically, we're 6A now, they say. I want to start here with some hydrangea paniculata talk, because this was quite the topic after one of my recent videos. And then I took it on to, we're going to look at some other ones too. Then I took it on to Instagram, and this was about deer resistance. So I had mentioned that I would plant, here's some more, these are limelights. I had mentioned that I would plant limelight in a garden with some deer pressure, not major deer pressure, but some deer pressure. And a lot of people said, what are you talking about? That's not deer resistant. Here's some more hydrangea paniculata. There's more, you get the idea. And so that led to a really interesting conversation regarding how different, here, let's look at me while we talk about this, regarding how different deer behave depending on your local herd. So clearly it varies certainly by your local herd, but I think it also varies by the time of year, how many deer are in that area, how long it's been since they've had a decent source of food, the time of year. There's so many factors, but when I kind of opened this up for conversation a little bit on Instagram, I had several people email me who had really interesting feedback on this. So other people agree with me that hydrangea paniculata was not frequently browsed in their yard, which is the case for me. They will browse hydrangeas. It is definitely not, this is my experience, it's definitely not their first thing. But of all the hydrangeas, hydrangea paniculata in my yard is almost never touched. They will certainly go after the hydrangea serratas, and they will go after hydrangea arborescens before they ever go near hydrangea paniculata. So then I talked to, like, for instance, Eric from Grow For Me Garden. He sent me a message. He said the deer in their yard, they've got a fair amount of deer in their yard too in New York, upstate New York. He said that their deer will eat quick fire hydrangeas, but that's it, but no other paniculatas, and they don't care for arborescens. So the thing that I want to bring up about this was that what's clear from this conversation is that deer pressure across the country, I think, has gotten so bad. I think the deer herds are huge, and I think, and generally poorly managed, in my opinion. And I think that we need to reevaluate what it means when we talk about a plant being deer resistant. I don't think that, I mean, certainly someone says they eat their boxwoods. And Yulia from Why Do You Garden, she said they've eaten their daffodils. I've had them eat alliums. I think anything is, I don't think there is anything that is truly deer resistant. Certainly no deer has ever touched a boxwood in my yard, but some people said they've eaten boxwoods. So I think we just need to probably have to be better about not making broad-based generalizations about plants that are deer-proof, because what I learned from this is that clearly well, I don't think I said deer-proof, deer-resistant. A, there is no deer-proof plant. B, it varies widely depending on your situation. So I think when it comes to deer resistance, this is one of those things where I think it's probably best to consult the local situation. And nothing is deer resistant straight out of the nursery, nothing. Everything, including a boxwood, gets sprayed by me because deer will test new plants. And that, I think, is something everybody should probably plan on doing. I don't think if there are deer in your yard, I don't think you trust anything that comes home or just gets planted. Let's walk around and look a little bit. So speaking of deer, so here's this pagoda dogwood. Oh, I see we're losing our fencing here a little bit. I have to get something to hold that up better. So here's a situation in which, hold on while I try to, can I do this at the same time I talk? Probably not. Trying to stretch it. Okay, I'm gonna have to get some more zip ties to hold that up. Anyway, for whatever reason, this pagoda dogwood was hit very hard by the deer situation when others in our yard are lightly browsed or not browsed at all. So this is, I think, a situation in which deer are walking through their yard over here, down their driveway. This is the first big plant they hit, and it's mouth level for them. Everything else in here, knock on wood, has been really pretty good for the most part. I've been very happy to see that they've not browsed on these Chamaecyparis. This is soft serve here. Gosh, I hope you can see actually what's happening. The lighting is harsh. You know, I would not expect them to eat a Norway spruce. And so far the hemlock has been okay too. I do try to see, here's another, so this is the other pagoda dogwood right here, generally untouched. So I think it just depends on where they're walking too, you know, whatever. The point is there's a whole bunch of factors that go into, here is a hydrangea macrophylla. No, what is this one? Aha. I think this is a macrophylla tough stuff cross. Anyway, untouched. So this is what the yard is looking like now. Another sort of fail. Can you see the outline right here? So this is where we pulled up this big chunk of grass that was just absolutely overrun by jumping worms, and we replanted. Well, you know, I'm no grass expert, and I think we can see that. Clearly what happened was we did not put enough dirt in here, and we tamped it down, but we didn't do it enough, and now the soil has settled, and now this is all lower. And what we should have done, I don't think I've talked about this yet. You can see maybe, if I go down here, how the yard sort of slopes away. What we should have done was bring in a whole bunch of dirt, fill this in and kind of level this off, and then grow grass. I would like to do that this spring. I don't know if there's time. I've got a photo shoot in I think it's early summer or even late spring. And so I don't know that there's time to grow proper grass prior to that happening. If I have the chutzpah to do this, I'm going to do some pruning today because it's a great time for that. So for instance, you can see on this blue globe spruce, which has, you know, they sort of naturally die off from the bottom over time. You can see how this one has these two branches sticking out. It's not a very attractive look. So I'm going to take a look at removing those. I have to see what that's going to do to the shape of the whole thing. This one too has something like that. I've been looking at that one for a while. We're just investigating. Here's, this is Picea engelmanni blue magoo, or Mr. Magoo. I think it's blue magoo. You can see this one branch here. It's just kind of hanging out there. There's no reason for that to be there. This one too, the branches have just kind of died off from the bottom up. The top, super healthy, but they die off from the bottom. It's okay because I fill this area in underneath here. So in the growing season, you don't notice this. But I would say in winter, it is a little odd looking. I still have all my Christmas stuff up, just gonna stay there. Or winter, that's why I call it winter stuff, because it stays up for winter. Things are looking a little crispy in some cases, although still just loving the golden, what is it, golden curls willows in these 2 pots. Should probably, they don't need water, but I got to think about some water on a few other things. Okay, I will say that for panicle hydrangeas, Bobo gets nipped a little, and you can see over here, Bobo's been nipped a little, but that's it. I mean, the rest of these are always fine. It's just, you know, I think this is their track. So where you plant along a deer's path, you got to be a little bit more careful. All the Hacklencloa has been tamped down by snow and popped right back up again, which has been great. You can see we've got deer protection around this dogwood. This is Big Apple dogwood, planted 2 years ago. Looks happy in there. You know, somebody asked me about this, totally valid question. Well, all questions are, no, I was gonna say all questions are valid. That is not true. Some questions are purely stupid. Don't believe that whole there are no stupid questions. There are, and some are, I swear some of them are done by people who mean them to be that way. Anyway, this is obviously close to the path here. This will get wide, so I will probably soon start pruning out some of these lowest branches here, because as this grows up, it'll get wide, but we're gonna wanna walk underneath it. I do see some damage to the bark on the base of this, just a little bit. I suppose that's like a little rodent or something. I don't think it's a problem. Maybe I should put something, actually maybe I should put something around that, because yeah, I want to grab something and stick something around that. Okay. Transparent. This is Millennia Transparent. Millennia Transparent, love this grass, but I got to tell you, as soon as it snows, it's shot. It just flops over. There's no, the winter interest with this one is, it should not go on the list of things where there's a winter interest factor, because it really falls apart quite quickly. So this is a type of willow here, not years ago. At some point I had planted along here a whole bunch of willow cuttings. I was trying to create, whatever, it doesn't matter what I was trying to do, it was stupid. Oh, hello. And I left a few of them in, and these are 2 of them here. I think maybe I'm gonna take this one, I'll take it all the way down and let it resprout, I think. It will, because it's a willow. And that one has gotten really big, and I don't remember when that happened. But see, oh, and look, there's been, see, talk about bark damage. This is the kind of thing, this probably, I think, is rabbits. Right here, do you see that damage along the bark there? I bet that's rabbits. It's pretty low for deer. I would think the deer would go a little higher than that. There are some things out here, like for instance, the lilac is holding its own. They will eat the lilac a little bit, but this is a lilac that I planted, 2 years ago, but it's a white one. And I'm excited because look at those nice fat buds on there. I am looking forward to a nice little lilac show. I think lilacs at the entrance to the end of a driveway or something are so traditional, old-fashioned cottage kind of thing. I love a lilac at the end of a driveway. The boxwoods are all showing, you know, this is winter stress, winter burn. This is all, you know, new growth that gets nipped by winter. You know, I did this horrible hack pruning job on these last year. I think I was nuts at the time. I don't know why I did it. I got a wild hair and decided to do something totally crazy pruning wise, and I totally regret it, but they'll come back, and all of that the stuff you see that's kind of yellowed out at the top here, that's shot. So I will let them grow for a little bit, then I'll be pruning that off and it'll be fine. All this, I'm gonna fertilize the heck out of these, try to get some new growth so I can prune them, get another chance at pruning. Oh my God. I would say other than the Hacklencloa, a lot of the grasses are pretty shot. I mean, this is all Millennia as well, Paul Peterson for the most part. I have been thinking about what we're going to be doing this coming year, and I think one of those things is going to involve bumping this bed out a little bit, particularly over here, probably making this curve right here quite a bit bigger and adding some things to this bed and coming out here. This is the winter color of Siberian or Russian cypress, Microbiota decussata. It's truly bronze. I mean, it looks almost black. I actually think it's quite pretty. It looks, if you don't know this plant, you might think, oh my God, it's dead. It's not. Rolling along this way in the yard, you can see we don't have any snow on the ground. We had one pretty good snow event and then it melted and we haven't had any since. And I tell you, I mean, I'm happy to not have snow because I always feel like it's kind of a pain. But I sure would like some as we go into this deep freeze. There will be plants that, this is cold enough that I would say there are plants that will get lost this year with no snow on the ground going into a deep freeze like that. I'm just noticing here that some of the stinking hellebores have nice green foliage on them. Look at them. Good job, guys. That's quite interesting. So, looks like somebody's been nibbling a little bit on them, but that's pretty amazing. We don't usually see that with hellebores here. I mean, they're called Lenten roses and some bloom very early, but generally that doesn't happen here. Here's this new area that I planted. I mulched this pretty heavily, so it's pretty hard to tell where there's a plant and where there's not. Things are, you know, I would say fairly, you know, now we've kind of reached this time of the year where the winter interest is lacking a little bit and things are looking a little tired, but there's nothing you do about it. Oh, I think I am going to finally, this year, this is this viburnum, and 2 years ago, sorry, I had to move my glove there. I don't know if it was 2 years ago or when. So this is viburnum plicatum Mauricii, and I lost big chunks of it. It was dying, it was just dying out. You can see here, and there was this big discussion about whether it was borers or it was some sort of disease, and I talked to some experts about it and the whole thing, and we never really knew, but the rest of it kept growing okay, but it is a mere shadow of its former self. So I do think that I'm going to replace this with something else, completely different. It kind of sticks out into the yard. I don't mind that. It's kind of an interesting little focal point here. I think maybe this will be the year that happens. We'll see. The birds will be happy to have that feeder when it's cold here the next few days. So one of the things that is always amazing to me, so like here we are in like the depths of winter, and yet it's always so nice to see the leaf buds. I mean, this is this little maple. I mean, check out these, you probably can't see that here. Let me try to get an angle where you can actually see something. There we go. I mean, they're actually colored up a little and swelling, and it is like the nicest reminder that don't worry, there will be light again. I'm just looking right here. I just noticed this branch right here is going the wrong way. I really should get out here and do some pruning. I'm noticing all these things that could use some attention. And then, well, I guess I still haven't made the final decision on this serviceberry, but I do think it's going to come out in spring. And in order to come out in spring and replant it, I'm going to have to, this right here is a Gravetide Beauty Clematis, which I talk about all the time. This is the one that grows up through these branches. I'm going to have to dig that out temporarily, and I'm probably going to have to dig out a lot of these hostas because I think to get this tree out in such a way that we can replant, I think I will have to, I think we're going to cut it off. It'll be very sad. I'm probably going to cry. Cut it off And then I think we're actually going to have one of the tree guys who lives near us, who actually, we hired him to use his auger to drill the holes and help us put the plants over here in. I think we're going to need him to come over here, and we're going to have to like dig the roots out of this and just pull the whole thing out, which will disrupt a lot of this. I hope it doesn't crumble the wall or disturb the wall, but you know, that will disturb that area quite a bit. And then we just plunk the new tree in there, if it happens. We'll see. What was it? Oh, and then the other thing that needs, I'm thinking a lot about this smoke bush here. This is Catinus, I think it's Royal Purple. It's one of the older varieties. It's been around for a long time. It too has a clematis growing up at Princess Diana. It's just never, I don't know if there's anything there. I might give it a super hard pruning, see if I can't push out like a bunch more growth at the bottom. I don't know that this, like these two spindly branches here are really accomplishing anything here in terms of looks. So this is on my mind too. I got lots of time to think about these things, so it's nice that they're sort of percolating in my head in the meantime. Okay, well, my lips, okay, well, my mouth is starting to freeze to the point where I can't talk very well. So I think we'll call this the end of the video, but I did want to just do a little stroll around the garden, take a look at things. It was actually very informative for me. I'm seeing a lot of things that I can be doing right now, and I might go inside for a while and warm up and then do that. Okay, I hope you guys are having a great weekend. Thanks for watching. We'll catch you soon.